All right. Hello, everybody. It is October 7th, which means that we are in our first full week of the challenge group of October. So we have a blend of folks in here right now. We've got some folks that are from our virtual gym and community that has going on. And then we have other folks in our 21-day 3-week group that's more of a team building and accountability. With folks placed on teams. They're filling out a tracker daily, and then we have some recognition. So you're all going to be available to see the same call, whether you're on live or watching the recording. And so October, the beginning of a new month, this is really a great time to kind of talk about consistency and the importance of it, but also recognizing that sometimes we fall off and that's okay. For some of you, especially those that are in like the 21-day group, this may be the first time you've ever committed to your health and fitness journey, or maybe you're recommitting to it for this month. And Thursdays can traditionally be a really challenging time for people. Thursdays can quite often be tough because what happens is everybody's pumped about Monday. Monday's like, first day, woo, got me like so great. Everything's awesome. I'm like so committed to my goals. This is new year, new me, new week, new me, new month, new me. And then Tuesday rolls around and you wake up sore, but you're still excited because you're new to your commitment. It's the honeymoon period. But then typically come like Thursday is when the honeymoon period often starts to dwindle away and reality sets in. Maybe it's the first time you've worked out 4 days in a row. Maybe it's the first time that you've really focused on your water intake and cut back or cut out soda. And reality setting in, and you're like, well, this isn't as easy as I thought it was going to be. I thought this was going to be like so fun, easy peasy all the time, and I'd have like abs in like 4 days. And you don't. And I want to remind you that the feelings you may be feeling come Thursday, Friday is totally normal. And so tonight's call is to really help with that you can apply these strategies and this mindset in any time of year and any season of life. But I just thought it'd be perfect to talk about it today, since it's the 4th day in a new full month month of the month. I think you know what I'm saying. All right, I'm just gonna keep going with it. So how to stay consistent even when you feel like you're falling off. So I don't know about you. I'm going to assume almost everybody here has had to or tried to learn to ride a bike. I do know of one grown adult who is a pastor at a local church near me that never learned how to ride a bike until a specific sermon that he was going to be teaching on. But that's the only person I've heard of. So I'm assuming everybody here has experienced riding a bike. And when you think about riding a bike and you take those training wheels off, it's scary at first, right? Like your parents might have been behind you, a grandparent might have been holding onto your seat, or maybe you were trying it on your own. And you get on your bike and you just start pedaling and you can feel yourself wobbling. And most of us, unless you're Aaron Mayer, put your feet down and you can catch yourself. Well, I grew up at a house that did not have a paved driveway. We had like an old kind of half paved driveway and a rock driveway and whatever stuff my dad could get from a job site for free, or barter with for free because finances were tight, to try to have us have a driveway, like a rock driveway. And my parents didn't have it in the budget to get me a new bike. So when I moved up from like my little rinky dinky little itty bitty bike with the training wheels that didn't come off and moved on to my sister's blue Huffy, it was a little big for me. Just a little big. And it was when the movie Rad was like the thing. I know I'm like totally like, yes, I see Alyssa's face right now. Rad was like the movie. And if you don't know what Rad is, look it up. It's totally cheesy. Most people tell me they have no idea what movie I'm talking about, but Rad, like the BMX bike racing and all that stuff. So like the neighborhood kids all had their bikes. And they would come to the end of my parents' driveway, which had a nice incline right where the mailbox was. So they would do like tricks and jumps and stuff like that. And I was 8 years younger than my older sister and the neighborhood kids. And I just remember having my training wheels, thinking I want a big bike. I want to do this. Like I want to be like in the movie Rad and like be so cool and like race bikes around my parents' neighborhood. And so I remember getting on my sister's blue and white Huffy, which was too big for me. And I'm talking like I was on my tiptoes, trying to like straddle this bike to get on. And my parents had a small hill that then went down to the street. And so I remember being at the top of the hill, looking down the driveway. And I was like, oh, I've got this. I can do this. I'm going to be like the kids in the movie Rad. And I start taking off and I just start pedaling. And I'm like, okay, I got this. I got this. And even though it was probably like 5 seconds, I totally thought it was like the longest time ever. And I was like killing it. Right. But I didn't grasp that my sister's bike didn't really have proper brakes and how this all, so I just start flying down the driveway and there's a big tree and oh my gosh, and I face planted. Like, I mean, I hit the ground, face planted, scraped myself up. It was not during helmet time. Like, that was not what you just didn't wear helmets back then. Like, nobody wore helmets. Why would you wear helmets? We don't care about brain injuries back in the 80s. So I had a big digger and it was awful, right? Awful. But just like many of you, I got back up and I tried it again and I tried it again and I got back up and I tried it again. And what would happen is as I kept repeating the same thing, I knew enough to never really sit like my butt on the seat, but like sit over the middle bar so that I could be, my legs could be long enough, just enough. So if I needed to stop or slow down or catch myself from falling, I could put my tiptoes down just enough so I could catch myself. So I learned as I went that I could stop myself from falling. And eventually over time, I could learn to keep riding and stay consistent. And what I want you to really think about your journey, it's just like riding a bike. Especially if you're in a place right now where you're really struggling to stay consistent and you can feel yourself falling. You can feel yourself starting to lose control. You can feel yourself starting to lose your balance. And I just want to remind you of a couple of things. Number one, quite often the reason why we fall, the reason why we yo-yo, the reason why we repeat old habits, oftentimes is some self-sabotage. And it's from some habits that we've carried on from a long time with us. And if you're starting to notice you're falling off, you're starting to skip your workouts, you're starting to get discouraged, you're starting to like the old things, but you're recognizing it, I want you to celebrate that. Because the moment you can start recognizing that you're self-sabotaging is the moment you can start slowly self-correct and grow your mindset. It's when we don't know we're falling and when we don't know that we're heading into old habits is when we can get ourselves in trouble, because that's when we keep repeating what we've always done, which some of us is start, stop, or crash into a tree like I did as a kid. So I really want you to celebrate acknowledging if you are falling off and be proud of yourself for saying, okay, I've got this now. I know I'm falling off. Let me work on this. So the thing I want to remind you is just like our kids when they're learning to ride a bike, just like when you're learning to ride a bike, this is a long time journey. Like I'm going to be 90 years old at the nursing home with my sweatbands, and I'll probably wear like Olivia Newton-John gear because why not? I want to be like the cute little old lady, and I want to be doing like my UV2 kind of workout to move my body. Like I want this to be a forever thing. I want to be that great grandmother that my kids are like, oh my gosh, you won't believe my grandmother. She was like 80 years old when she stopped skiing. Like I want to be that person. And to do that and to build that lifestyle takes action consistently over time on fueling ourselves well and keep moving our body. So in turn, it's realizing that this is not an overnight thing. It's not meant to happen immediately. It's to happen consistently. And the only way we can do that is if we fall, we get back up, and we just keep on pedaling and pedaling towards our goals. And so a couple of tips that I want to give you, and you've heard some of these before because they work, is I want to give you a couple of tips to be able to implement in your day so it'll help you keep pedaling and keep moving forward. So this becomes like riding a bike. Number one, I want to remind you guys, please, please, please revisit your goals daily. I've said it before, I'll say it again. Writing down pen to paper or pencil to paper every day saying, because I am consistently focused on being a healthier version of me, a more confident version of me, I am doing X. I am focusing on the 2B mindset nutrition. I am, crushing my 21-day fix workouts. Whatever your goals are, but revisiting it every day so you know where you're going and you know where you're headed, because that discipline to commit to consistency on here and here will bring it all together for the outside with your energy, health, and confidence. Number 2, stop striving for perfection. Stop striving to be that fitness IG super duper model that has 8-pack abs and just looks so. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with abs, and I'm not saying there's anything wrong with striving towards a goal. But I want to remind you the importance is you cannot make yourself focus on being the perfect fitness person. Just like we say, stop trying to be the perfect mom, stop trying to be the perfect this. Perfection sucks, man. The perfection is not what we should strive for, because the moment we strive for perfection is the moment we disappoint ourselves, because nobody's perfect. What we should do is give ourselves grace through the process. And again, if you notice that you're falling off track more than usual, just put your toes down on your bike, take a deep breath, go back to the top of the hill, and restart again. And lastly, where's my notes? This is how organized I am. Lastly, I want to remind you the importance of leaning into our community. The whole point of this is so you never have to feel alone. And with our groups that we have, and with your coach, whether it's me or not, I want you to know that there's never shame in reaching out and saying, hey, I'm having a tough time, I'm struggling. There is nothing, I want to hear from you, and I guarantee your coaches are going to want to hear from you if you're struggling. Because a lot of times when people have struggled over the years, and including me, if I've gone through a tough season, I'll kind of pull back and get quiet. And your coach in the community doesn't always know, because we can't always read that from you, especially virtually. And if you tell us you're struggling, if you tell us you need extra support, if you tell your coach, hey, you know what, this has been a really tough week, there's something we can always do to help. Whether it be we post our workout and tag you in the comments and say, hey, have you done your workout? Maybe it's just you needed an extra person to listen to you about your crummy work week. And that's what we're here for. We're here to help encourage you along the way. And the last thing I ever want for someone to feel is embarrassed that they're having a tough time, and then they pull back and they go in the corner of the, we'll say computer, the corner of the room, let's visualize that, and just hide away. We're here for you, and the community is so supportive, and it absolutely works when you lean into it. And yes, there are some of us that are rogue and we're wallflowers and we don't want to talk to these virtual strangers. That's totally fine. But if you're feeling alone, please lean in. And there's no judgment ever. So if anybody has any specific questions about the bike analogy or about this specifically, I'm going to leave it open for just a moment. And then we'll stop the recording. And then those that get on live, we'll chat for a few minutes if anybody has anything specific. Okay, I'll count 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right.